Right, here we go. So I'm following the master now. So partly I'm observing, partly I'm going to try and copy Dale's positions, but it's a bit like trying to copy, I don't know, somebody playing a Stradivarius really, because Dale's at a level of competence way higher than I will ever get to, but let's hope just a little bit of that magic rubs off on me. You just see how close he's getting into the left hand side there. So now we're heading to Avebury. So I'm sorry I didn't manage to photograph Stonehenge, folks. I will definitely do that again sometime. Apologies for that. But we turned up at the Stonehenge car park, and guess what? You can't see Stonehenge there anymore because they've moved the car park. I suspect what we were looking at back there was the visitor centre, actually. The new one that you're going to have to pay 50 quid for a family ticket and to actually go on a little train ride to go and look at the stones that used to be free. So not that I'm ranting, you understand. I've just got to be a little bit careful not to get sucked into, I think, as tight a position as Dale there, because I'm not sure whether I can control that closeness to the curb. And as usual with these things, you've got to ride your own ride as well. But he just looks so balanced. It's like watching, I'm sure he'll forgive me for saying this, it's like watching a ballet dancer. So we're going to be cutting up now to through Devizes with Salisbury Plain on our right hand side, and then up towards Avebury. So you will actually see a bit of Neolithic standing stones there. So he just yields a little bit there to the white van, doesn't he? Sets himself up for the right-hander. And he takes a very high position there, doesn't he, on the bend? So we're going over the broad expanse now of Salisbury Plain. As I say, this is where the army practice. You often see Apache helicopters, Challenger tanks, all the different vehicles, smoke going off. So where possible, I'm going to try and follow in his tyre tracks. I'll be fascinated to hear his commentary on my ride, which you'll be able to watch on Dale's channel. Watch out for tanks crossing the road. Well, it's good to meet Seafly Fisher in person, and I can tell you, a good bloke. He gave me strict instructions there to stay out in that sort of situation, not to come back and not to try to encourage the traffic to come at you through the gap where there's cars parked and oncoming traffic. So the sheepdog idea is that you hold them out there, you assert what Dale calls presenting the vehicle. Lovely piece of road. Shame we've got a dumper truck ahead of us. Again, another tank crossing here. Yeah, just chatting with Dale there off camera, the things he notices that I don't see. Things like reflections in shop windows and looking at vehicles over hedges. I think I'm seeing them, but actually I'm not really. And again, if you look just how tight a line he's taking there around that verge, and then he sort of drifts out to the right hand side, setting himself up for the left hander. Just drops back in again for the oncoming car, but merges that with his setup for the next right hander. It's very graceful. This was covered in snow a month ago, and look at it now, 22 degrees. That's interesting there. Not very used to the brakes, I think. And when there's an oncoming car, he just appears to drop in very marginally. Yeah, Dale mentioned he doesn't get to see himself on video very often, so I'm sure he'll benefit from a few tips from me. Not. It's almost like he's perched there on the edge of the road. I think what I need is like a head-up display with a virtual Dale riding ahead of me, which shows me the line. I've no doubt at some stage in the future somebody will invent one of these. And you just follow your virtual Dale on the head-up display, which is beamed into the inside of your crash helmet, and it will show you the perfect line, and through radar it will identify all the potential threats. It will analyse the road surface, and all you got to do is follow him. And I've not got a virtual Dale today, I've got a real one. Can't tell you what a privilege this is. So again, you notice him riding towards the right hand side of the road here. There's no way this white car is going to come with us here. Now keeping well left away from these guys working on the road. This following Dale actually now reminds me very much of when I was learning to play golf, and I was a pretty hopeless 18 handicapper, and I was living up in the northwest at the time, up in Blackpool, and it was the British Open, the Open Championship, and for about 4 or 5 days I'd actually gone and watched the golf. I got myself a season ticket so I could go and watch the whole thing. And on the Saturday it was an unusual day because it had rained, I think, quite hard, and they weren't able to play on the Saturday of the Open. Oh, that's right, they weren't able to play on the Sunday of the Open Championship. And I went out that day and played golf in my local park, and having watched the pros and their rhythm literally for 4 or 5 days, I think something just it's almost like the penny just dropped in my head. And my best ever score at that stage had probably been mid-90s or something like that, and on that particular day I went round in 82, which might not sound very great shakes, you know, for proper golfers out there, but for me it was a major improvement. And it was just simply as a result of watching someone who knows what they're doing and picking up the rhythm. And a picture paints 1,000 words, doesn't it? So just watching Dale here, just this rhythm, this grace, drifting around these corners effortlessly. I mean, just look how close he's getting into the left there. I would feel quite uncomfortable doing that, but he's just done that through a lifetime of advanced motorcycling on a professional basis. Yeah, look how tight he gets in there. Now I personally can't do that simply because I don't have that level of degree of control yet over my bike, and were I to waver slightly to the left I'd be doing some hedge time. So I'm a sort of a left tyre track man myself. But it is something I aspire to. Yeah, for the blue van there and the blue car, just drifting in just a touch. Under IM you'd be probably moving to the middle or even the left hand side of the road, I think. And again, look at this. Amazing. Amazing control. So I think we're coming into, where are we now? Potton. Probably not too far from Devizes now. Yeah, it's told me I've got to trust my bike more. As long as I'm under drive in these sharp corners, I'll get round. Have faith, eh? Sunshine's certainly bringing the bikers out today. Here we are at the town of Devizes. I'm not sure, but is this the county town of Wiltshire? I think it might be. Hopefully we'll lose these two lorries here. Yeah, moved in for the bus and moved out for the little girl. Oh, lovely pond there. What a pleasant town Devizes is. Notice Dale always indicates, even if the roundabout is straight on. Okay, coming out of town now. Beautiful day, just keeps getting better and better, to be honest. And the next stop is Avebury. And Avebury is probably contemporary with Stonehenge, actually. When you look at Avebury, the stone circle, you're probably looking at 6,000 years of history. Built before the pyramids. And nobody really knows what the stone circle was actually for. Was it an astronomical system? Did it sort of point out to various constellations of stars at certain times of year, a bit like Stonehenge? Was it to do with worship or ritual? And it's essentially the village just grew up around it, really. And what's great about it is there's a really good bikers pub called the Red Lion actually within the stone circle. And on a day like today, what could be a better destination? I imagine without me holding him back, Dale would have been much further up this road now. So you see the stone barrow on the right hand side, that low sort of undulating shape in the field? That will have been a burial mound. Literally the whole ground round here for miles and miles and miles is littered with Neolithic burial mounds and structures everywhere. Looks like we're training racehorses on the left hand side as well. So, coming up shortly on the left hand side we should pass Silbury Hill. So again, Silbury Hill it's a man-made structure, again contemporary with Stonehenge and Avebury. There it is, right ahead of us now. So a distinctive sort of conical top to it. And again, nobody really knows what it was for. Again, it's probably 4,000 years old. And when it rains hard, it tends to get flooded around the base. It's a great place for photographs, just to get the reflection of the hill. And there's a tunnel goes right through the middle underneath, which was put in by archaeologists when they were excavating. Yeah, there's actually a bit of a lake there on the left hand side. Now you probably can't see it because the camera's on my right. Boy, does he get close in. He was almost going down the middle of those two yellow lines then. Yeah, we should be taking a left up here to go down the processional avenue towards Avebury. Again, a whole series of standing stones. And again, this is now we're actually headed back. If we carried along this road for another 10-15 minutes or so, we'd be back in Marlborough. I love this landscape.
Where's the avenue then?
No, it'll be next. It'll be yeah. This is just like a little car park. So
I knew it was the next junction. I saw
yeah.
the little one back down. I thought, is this it?
Yeah, it's just nice to pull over here. Actually, it's just. But yeah, I mean, if we go probably another half a mile up, there's actually a left turn then that actually takes you through. There's like, you'll see, you can't miss it because there's like a whole series of standing stones. So, you know, at one stage I thought, you know, like the double yellow line on the side of the road, you were nearly going between it.
Right.
I thought, good grief. Yeah. Back there. Must have passed it, yeah. So we're now coming up what's known as the avenue, and you'll see further up we get, here's a couple of standing stones, and in essence this is a processional, which I think the assumption is that in times gone by that there been some kind of procession marching up towards Avebury itself. A lot of these stones have been re-erected. A lot of them were knocked over actually, had to be re-erected. You can actually get in there and walk up towards Avebury if you want to. Stone on the right there. And we're coming to the village of Avebury itself. And there's the Red Lion, famous biker pub. I bet you've always wanted to see that car park in Marlborough, haven't you?
Is that my bucket list?
Yes, well,
I want to tick off.
you can tick it off now, mate, so yeah.
When we come out from